also what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
Holy fucking shit.
That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously. And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country. So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously.
Hey, welcome back. It's your man, Wise. And yes, not hard to understand why she doesn't do interviews. What a fountain of information explaining the problem and pretending it's the solution. But anyway, let's get into it. Americans are hurting right now. Inflation is no joke. Not when people are struggling to make ends meet, not when groceries are through the roof, and definitely not when your paycheck feels like it's worth less every single pay period. Kamala Harris has been in office for over 3.5 years now, and what has she actually done about it? Absolutely nothing. She was a tie-breaking vote in the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which, let's be honest, hasn't done a daggone thing to actually reduce inflation. And now she's hiding from the daggone media, pretending like she's got nothing to do with the economic disaster we're all dealing with right now. But people are waking up. Let's check out this NBC panel of Black voters in Philadelphia.
Does everybody know who they're voting for? Or is anybody undecided still?
I'm very undecided.
Undecided.
Right now, inflation. So I'm monitoring who's talking the most about inflation. Re-entry. I would like to see everyone who is a criminal with federal charges still be able to vote. If we can have a criminal for president, we need to allow some voting rights back that were taken illegally in the first place.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
Who do you blame for it?
I blame the federal government at this point. If a working class mom who works as a paralegal cannot buy a $2 bell pepper because it's now $5, imagine a mother living on food stamps. Imagine a mother who's making minimum wage trying to feed children. They're killing us without killing us. If you understand that. They're killing us without telling us they're killing us. They're hurting people in ways that they can't help themselves. It's either feed my child or how about feed my children and I don't eat, but I have to go work.
Who feels as if Black voters are taken for granted, i.e. they make you promises and they don't deliver? What do you care about most right now?
What are they going to do for my people that lives in the communities where I am from? The gun violence is second in my mind, but it's what can they do for us? How can they help? How can they go into a home and help that family to save their children? We need the funding. We want the help. But in my opinion, it starts at home.
It starts at home. Jaleel, what about you? What is most important to you right now?
Economics, education, reentry, reform.
Reentry to the criminal justice system.
Exactly. We need to save ourselves.
That's right.
If we're looking for somebody to save us, it's not going to happen.
If you look at Philadelphia and you took the most impoverished areas in Philadelphia and then you took the crime rate where the most crime is happening in Philadelphia and you laid it right there, it would almost match up perfectly. So if you're seeing that much of a correlation between poverty and crime, you have to address that on some level. If we invest in our schools, invest in our youth, we will see some changes there.
The way I would articulate it is quality of life issues. How we live our everyday lives, right? So if that's jobs, if that's housing, if that's gun violence, if that's education, like everything that makes our lives good, that's what I vote poor in mind.
Who votes with guns in mind on a federal level? When you cast your ballot at a presidential election for senators, for members of Congress?
Now, when you say guns in mind, mine is
Gun control, issues surrounding guns, background checks, all of you do.
Yes.
I mean, that's us voting with us in mind.
Yeah.
You understand? When you say that, like, this is
talking about your family.
You know,
Yes.
like, when you ask me, am I voting with guns in mind? I'm voting. That means I'm voting with me in mind, because I could very much be a victim of gun violence.
You got to keep talking about it, keep talking about it. You have to consistently let people know this is not normal. It doesn't seem like people are angry enough to say no more, no more.
And we're going to keep talking about it. I checked in with these voters after the attempted assassination of the former president this past week, and they told me while it has not changed their positions on who they're going to vote for, they're still undecided. It does reiterate that guns are a major problem in this country. It's why people need to vote with gun control measures in mind. We're going to have much more of that conversation.
Yeah, so let's talk about what's really going on here. In deep blue Philadelphia, a group of black voters are finally saying what we've all known for quite some time. The federal government is to blame for this mess. And yes, inflation is killing them, and not only them. These are everyday Americans, black men and women who have been loyal to the Democratic Party for decades, finally waking up to the fact that they've been taken for granted. But what a time to be alive. We have black folks in Philadelphia, one of the bluest cities in the country, openly saying that the Democratic policies are killing them. This is huge. The victims are finally starting to figure out who the abusers are. It's like the Stockholm syndrome that's plagued the black community for decades is finally starting to wear off. Remember President Lyndon B. Johnson when he infamously said that he'd have black Americans voting Democrat for the next 200 years? Now, you know he didn't say black Americans. He actually said, I'll have these N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Well, it looks like that 200-year plan might be starting to fall apart. What we're seeing here is exactly what we need in our communities. People holding the policyholders accountable. People waking up to what these policies are really doing to them and their communities. These black men and women are coming together, speaking out about how hard it is to afford groceries, how tough it is to be a single mother in America in 2024. And you know what? It's never been harder for a single mom in this country. And that's on the Democrats. One, because they've pushed the single motherhood in this country. And two, that they've taxed everybody into oblivion. They've regulated every company into oblivion, that prices are now through the roof and regular working class Americans are feeling the pinch. They've promised financial security, but what have they actually delivered? Higher prices, more taxes, and more struggles while Kamala's out there campaigning. And by the way, on top of the fact, Kamala Harris is worth $15 million, but never actually started any businesses, hasn't invented anything, but some kind of way, this lady is worth upwards of $15 million. And she's out here talking on stage about the problems when she could be back in DC right now actually fixing them. Also, let's not forget how she's been a big supporter of sanctuary cities and open borders, policies that are hurting the black communities the most. Honestly, black and Hispanic American communities the most. Illegal immigrants are pouring into our cities, taking jobs, driving up housing costs, and draining resources that should be going to American citizens. Y'all seen the video last week that went viral where the lady, she had $13,000 in food stamps, another $4,500 in cash assistance. That's $20,000. The average working class, the average middle class American family don't have $20,000 stacked up somewhere. They just don't. And yet the Democrats keep pandering, making empty promises that they have zero intention of keeping. They've taken the black vote for granted for entirely too long. They pander to black folks when they need you, which is every election cycle, just like what they're doing right now, and then drop you off when they don't. Illegals are the new voter class, and the black population has been forgotten. But if you guys are familiar with Dr. Claude Anderson, he said that this would happen 30 years ago. You can look up videos from Dr. Claude Anderson, and he was talking about this exact situation happening. That dude is almost like a prophet. And if you haven't heard of Dr. Claude Anderson, please take some time, do some Google researches, go YouTube him. You'll find him out there. He is out there and he was talking about this a long time ago. But here's the thing. People are starting to wake up. They're seeing through the lies and they're realizing that the Democrats are hurting the very people they claim to champion. And the crazy part is it'll get 10 times worse under Kamala Harris's regime. This woman is a radical leftist, a Marxist leftist, a socialist who will destroy this country just like she helped to destroy San Francisco and the state of California. And it looks like young and black voters are starting to realize that. Let's check out MSNBC's Mark Mary.
With young people, is there any data on that?
So what's interesting is that young voters and also ended up black voters didn't change all that much between where Biden was in Pennsylvania in July and where Harris is now. Independents did move in Harris's direction.
So yes, this could be a very big deal if it's true. Why should they move in Harris's direction anyway? Why would anyone but the rich and upper class white collar folks move to her side of the aisle? Everybody's struggling to make ends meet right now. But this could mean that even her base, the people she's supposed to be representing, this could mean that they aren't even buying what she's selling right now. So why isn't Kamala doing better? It's simple. She's not talking about the issues that matter. She's not out there addressing the real concerns of everyday Americans and young people too. They don't generally gravitate towards silly women, especially young men. And I'm finding it hard to believe that they're lining up in droves for someone who called them stupid in the past. Check this out.
Remember, age is more than a chronological fact. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories, and they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions.
There you have it. But Kamala's a media creation, a product of leftist propaganda machine. And here's the thing. The foundation of her campaign is built on sand, and it's looking like it's starting to crumble. We need to keep the pressure on her because other cracks are starting to form, and they will form if we keep pushing and if we keep creating the flood that washes it all away, because the leftist media will continue to try to prop her up. Y'all know this. They're trying to sell us this fake Kamala surge, but don't believe it. And if we don't push back, if we don't get out there and register voters, collect ballots, and, definitely get out and early vote, they'll do what we all suspected them of doing when Biden won. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you honestly think the Kamala Harris hype is real? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Again, drop me a comment. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Consider joining the ARP family. It supports me, the team, the channel. It gives us the ability to do what we do on a day-to-day basis. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. And I'm going to catch up with you all next time. Peace.